Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join this discussion right here, right now, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by Ranty Flat Earth, Flatzoid, 10th Man, and... is that Paul? Good to have you all.
Yep. Me.
Hello. Hello, hello.
Hello, 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 what?
Hello, hello.
Hello, 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 hello. And we're also joined by, in Discord, Dougie, Earth-Shaped Investigator, Truth in Your Face, who got a mention in the pre-show. And I think that's pretty much it. Very good to have you also. Funny coincidence.
Hello, thanks for having us.
Good, good. Yeah, funny coincidence you joining. Truth in Your Face, literally we were just talking about you, so your ears must have been burning. Right, let's do a bit of housekeeping. Any signs of Earth curvature?
No, still flat in South Africa.
No science. Still looking.
Still flat here too. Any signs of axial rotation?
Of the
None.
Earth base.
Not of the Earth-based variety,
None
no.
whatsoever.
Not of the Earth base, but on merry-go-round.
Yeah, I'm not that interested in anything. The Earth-based variety, I'm going to continue to strap that on every single time from now on, thanks to you, 10th Man. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Oh, they've lost this fight. There's
Nope.
no gravity.
Only relative density.
When the people who push gravity can't explain it, and they're struggling, as we've been watching and commenting on the shows for the last several months, they don't even know what it is. They've lost this battle. There's no such thing. They made it up.
Right on. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Begging the question.
Only in sci-fi movies.
At Earth radius.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, go ahead. Go on.
Sorry, just on the molten iron core, I think the real thing that we've got them on is they can't produce any samples of that beyond a certain depth anyway. So there's really there's literally no evidence for it. It's just conjecture. Just wanted to point it out. It's total conjecture.
Good addition.
Also, on top of that, I think it was Anthony who said that if it's molten, then it wouldn't have any magnetism either. So it's not going to work.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's beyond the Curie point.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
Any evidence of the R value, Earth radius?
There are be none here.
Nope.
No, still just begging the question. Assumption. Oh, never mind. Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without a container for all those fundamentalist religious zealots who believe the sky is a vacuum?
No
Yes.
way.
Nothing.
No, actually, we have a Glober who actually agrees with us on that.
That's so.
Really?
Tell me more.
So, Toady did a presentation on my show yesterday, and in the comments section after the show had uploaded, we had a professor guy, or that's what his channel name is, Professor somebody or other, who says nowhere in all of the universe do we have gas pressure next to a vacuum.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah,
very
Indeed.
good.
but what they assert though is that it thins out, and that's why there's no gas pressure next to vacuum. It's just still fundamental.
So is
So
there a cut-off point between, well, what's the region called then, between gas pressure and no gas pressure?
That isn't a possibility. The gas will fill the space. It fills the available volume it has.
I know, let
To
him
fill.
play along, mate. Let him play along.
Sorry.
Let him play along. Just after the name of the region that it's called, where we have gas pressure, then we have a void of something or other, and then we have the vacuum. So what's that region called?
well, that would be the gradient of the galaxy.
Some new information has come out about this.
Double D, I'm so excited you joined us. I'm still enjoying our last conversation where you said Alaska's not near Russia, but if you go there, the Russians arrest you. That was so good.
Well, I'm still waiting for there was obviously somebody that said there is a region where those two don't meet. So I'm still waiting for that guy to make an answer to my question.
Who was it? Was it Flatsoid or Earth-Shaped Investigator?
No, I just said it's fundamental that they still believe that it thins out into nothing.
Ah. Okay, so it wasn't a claim by a Glober. Okay, my mistake.
It's taken weeks to finally come up with the answer on all this stuff. On Sunday, the ballers finally, everybody, even George said he didn't know it, but what they've done is there's called an International Standard Day. And what they've done is they've basically set a standard atmospheric pressure at sea level, which is based on 33 feet under the water of the ocean, and they come up 1 atmosphere. In all reality, there is no gas pressure on the Earth measured with a gauge that measures the gas in the air. It only is given a preliminary number of 14.7 because if you go 33 feet under the water, it will compress the air. And
33 feet under the water isn't atmospheric air pressure. That's underwater. This makes no sense. There's also an instrument called a barometer which can measure the pressure in the air.
no, a barometer,
Yeah, you've just said that the arbitrary assignment of the numbering on the barometer, i.e. 14.7 at sea level, is somehow an issue. And frankly, I don't care about the numbers or the scale that's attached to this. In the same way, I couldn't care less if you give me a value of a distance in feet or in centimetres. Who cares?
I do find it interesting, though, that they've claimed 33 feet. 33 seems to pop up quite a lot.
Yeah, very interesting.
Isn't that a Freemason number?
Nevertheless,
You've got
under
to
the
remember
water,
they're using a
under the
liquid
water
to
would
measure
be,
a gas.
it's not a wet measure of gas 33 feet underwater, is it?
The first barometer used water. So they were using water to measure the atmospheric pressure, and they're not using a gas versus gas.
So what? Right? That matters not.
There is no gas pressure.
Yeah, there is gas pressure. Just talking nonsense. I'm tired of this argument. I had it for 6.5 weeks with Spurs.
That's what I'm telling you, there is no gas pressure.
Really? Well, I beg to differ.
There
And
goes.
the way we got Spurs over a barrel on this was when he started describing how a vacuum chamber works, the removal of the existing gas pressure to leave you with the differential, David, proving beyond all certitude that we do have atmospheric gas pressure.
Well, the only problem is you need to tell us how they measure this gas pressure.
No, we don't. The measurement I've just made clear is not important, inconsequential even. I didn't give a measurement when I said that there was a removal described by Spurs, your wingman, where they removed atmospheric pressure to create a vacuum. The differential being gas pressure on the outside and the absence or limitation thereof on the inside, proving beyond certitude we absolutely have gas pressure.
What you have is a man-made machine that's basically got a...
Shut up. Get out. I'm not going to do it with you for 6.5 weeks either. Piss off.
I wanted to ask him if he has his peer-reviewed paper yet.
Oh my gosh.
It's just nonsense. This bullshitting, spewing nonsense can end right here. What? Because I've measured it? No. That was your wingman who gave that example, Spurs. Yeah? He described removal of the atmospheric pressure which is existing prior to its removal, and the differential proving it's there. You can't have less atmospheric pressure when you remove some if there isn't any. It's an absolutely absurd position to take, and I'm tired of it. That's why David's been removed. If he hasn't listened to Spurs being obliterated or any of the things we've rebutted every single one of his absolute nonsense claims with, then tough. He can go somewhere else to spout his rhetoric. I've heard it before. It's not getting through to him. We have atmospheric pressure.
Agreed.
All you gotta do is step outside. My goodness, what's wrong with these people?
Just breathe. I mean, really. If you're
I'm going to use this gas pressure to say, good morning, guys.
Hey, Chocolate. How's it going?
Okay, Ethel.
I don't know what the obsession with this argument
How's
is.
everybody doing?
This gas pressure
Good.
not existing argument is absolutely absurd. Why anybody
Well,
would be
you-
so dedicated to it is beyond me.
You caught him early, Nathan. If you remember, he played his poker hand and you nailed him, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago when you said, oh, so you want to have outer space exist.
Yeah,
And
that's when I
it.
questioned him about gravity and
Because they were saying it's cold. It's just cold temperatures. And the higher you go, it's the cold temperatures acting as the container. And so that's what they were saying. And then when you push them, what's beyond that? And of course he said space. And that's when you said, oh, so that's your game. The vacuum of space.
yeah, it's always double speaking.
Just another clever way to say a vacuum next to a pressure could exist.
The gas would fill the space.
So obvious. So obvious.
Okay.
Yep, still waiting for demonstrations.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Nope. Can't
Nope.
measure.
Nothing. Where's Father Flat Earth? Has he brought his evidence yet?
Well,
But sticks and shadows, sticks and shadows. Sorry, sticks and shadows.
from memory, or from what I understand, he's used the transit of Venus. Just a few values we'd need to get some clarity from him on that score.
Interesting.
Yeah, when I first looked into that, the first words almost out off the description is that we assume this, and then I thought, oh, this all starts to fall apart off the first couple of words.
Well, they assume Earth having a radius of the given value is their first assumption. Their next assumption is that Venus is the same size as Earth. So when people describe Venus, a little dot in the sky, a little twinkly light, they say it's the same size as Earth. Earth's twin, right? Oh no, that's absolutely necessitated for their mathematics. They just assume it's the same size as Earth, and every other value comes from there.
It's just trigonometry with assumption.
Oh, assumption of R. Let's assume Earth's a sphere. Moving on. Let's assume that that light in the sky not only is a sphere, it's exactly the same radius as Earth. Right. Now let's apply Kepler's third law. Excellent. Now we're away. We've got all of the measurements. We know exactly how far the sun is. We know exactly how big everything is. Awesome. No, just based on an assumption. First, prove Earth is a sphere before you appeal to it and start extrapolating the mathematics for the other values, for the things you assume are transiting at vast speeds, physical bodies, moving and whirling at absolutely exponential rates, changing directions without any actual signs of that occurring. Yeah, you prove that crap before you appeal to it.
It's funny, I was watching an old video somebody had found on Richard Feynman, and he was just trying to describe ellipsoid or elliptical orbits. And it was funny, as I was watching him write this on the paper, he used a string with 2 nails on it. Then you took a pencil and kind of went around that. And I thought, I don't know if he realizes what he's saying. He's describing it using something that's connected and tangible with him making a force. And I thought, if you look at everything we hear about gravity, none of that exists, but you can describe it as long as you use a string, a pencil, a hand, and 2 nails and a board. I thought that was interesting.
Or you stretch out a bit of rubber like a trampoline and roll some bowling balls around it.
But you got
that right there. I was just going to say that real fabric, that actual fabric that we've stretched out, that's analogous to the bending of a conceptual medium that doesn't exist right there. Isn't that right, children? Oh yeah, I understand. Why do the balls end up smashing into each other at the end? Just ignore that bit.
Well, have you seen, another note, the NASA's pictures of Venus versus photographers with whatever array of instruments taking pictures of Venus? Have you seen the difference between the two?
Well, I used to have, I still own it, but it's at the mother-in-law's. I had a telescope for a long while. Feel free to go and check out Take Back Space TV. So shout out to Chris D. Say hello to Chris if you do go over there when he does his live streams. He does a 4K nighttime stream, and he's got exceptional muscle memory. You can literally go in his live stream, which he monitors as he's doing this, and just ask him to see anything that's available to be viewed. If it's clear enough and in his night sky, I'll show you pretty much within a couple of seconds. He's amazing. But you can get an idea of what these things really look like. His 4K stream is better than I got through my telescope. Obviously for me it's projected on a nice big screen, but I'm pretty sure, to all intents and purposes, it's as good as looking through a scope if you go to Chris D's stream. You wouldn't achieve the same thing by the virtue of having to manually move your telescope and actually track this stuff. He can just do it with pure muscle memory, and therefore you can have a damn good look at stuff, and he'll just move it along as it's needed. So yeah, go and check it out and then compare. You're absolutely right. I've seen it with my own eyes. The stuff looks nothing like what they present in their CGI renderings.
Right. It doesn't even look like, well, I hate to even say it, but planet. It's like a flickering light, gaseous type of flickering light, in the different shapes, and it's like, you're saying that's the measurement that matches the Earth, which you beg the question to say we're a planet to begin with. I mean, these people are crazy. The evidence is right there in front to show that they're lying out there. You know what?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that concludes the housekeeping. Thank you to all who took part.
I love housekeeping. It never gets old for me because it's solid. It's the foundation of taking down the heliocentric model and the liars at NASA.
What model?
Hey, Sleeping Warrior. And hey, also...
They need a model.
Hey, also Red in Discord. How you doing?
Did you, I know I've just missed housekeeping, but did you guys check Ranty's chat out last night? I had a really good discussion with that guy called Toady from Jose's chat. He actually made 2, I would say, landmark concessions. The first one was I presented some maths to demonstrate how we could calculate, not prove cause and effect, but how we could calculate which direction, because in the cherry tomato, I used the maths to demonstrate which direction and by what magnitude the tomato could move. We can calculate it. And because maths proves things for them, that was a language that he had to concede that it kind of works. He wants to do a bit more testing of it, and he suggested doing a drop test and a hybrid of that, which we're going to do. But he conceded that we can actually calculate relative density disequilibrium to explain what we see, at least on the face of it. And that was quite an important concession.
Yeah.
But his most pertinent concession was he admitted that what was the other one? I've forgotten it now because Nathan just interrupted at the wrong time. Do you want to say something, Nathan, while I think what my other point
I just wanted to give a kudos to Toady. So I didn't realise it was him. I don't really follow these fundies particularly, but was only aware of him by name from QE toe tagging him. But I'd not heard him speak, or may have heard him, or just didn't recognise who he was. In any event, I was chatting away, being quite crude in Ranty's chat, seeing what I could get away with in his filters, swearing-wise. Anyway, because he's not modded me for some reason. Anyway, I was giving him kudos. I was like, who is this guy? Is that a concession I hear? Do my ears deceive me? And yeah, and then somebody, I think it was you, was like, that's Toady. And I was like, oh, wow, well, kudos, you know. Can't believe he's actually been reasonable. You know, something's been presented to him. He's not circle jerked back to the beginning. He's gone, yeah, you're correct. And yeah, I'll have to go and have a look at that in greater extent because that is correct. And I'm like, what? Amazing. I can't quite believe my ears. You know, just stuck out like a sore thumb.
I had to actually check, was that actually a concession? Because I couldn't believe my ears either. And he said, no, it's not a concession. He's just saying I can see your point. And I was like, yeah, that was a concession. So shout out and kudos for that. And the second point was that Brenda had challenged me to do a drop test in air. And I'd said, well, why does it need to be in air? Because our point is that it's medium specific. And you can change the medium and change the way that the egg, in this case, or the cherry tomato will move. And it'll move up or down, and it'll move fast up or down. And there's no, Brenda and co aren't able to realize that there is a direct overlap between the egg when it moved by pouring in salt and objects falling through the medium of air. They don't get that that's directly related, because objects falling through the medium of air, they're going to get to terminal velocity pretty quick. The fact that it's in the medium of air kind of, it misses the point in some respects, because objects that are close to the point of like high entropy or low energy, or gets to their neutral buoyant position, objects that are close to that point don't accelerate at the same rate or decelerate at the same rate. And that was my point to Brenda. I was like, Brenda, we don't need to do this in air. Let's do it in water, where we've got much more mass that we can play with to test these things. And she didn't get it. So when I found a video last night live on Ranties, I hadn't seen it before. He credited me with seeing it before, and I hadn't actually seen it before. But I demonstrated that objects that fall through mediums, depending on their weight or their mass, or whatever word you want to use to describe that thing, basically fall at different rates. And he actually conceded that things do fall in different rates in different mediums, although he did limit it to that particular medium. But it's true, objects fall at different rates in different mediums, and it is medium specific. But now we've got him onto that, then we can start, if he sticks to that and he doesn't regress back to being a ball-tard, we can then start manipulating the medium and varying and causing effects, right? And that's science. And if he sticks to his position, which is that he sees what we're talking about and he gets it, then there is no other way that gravity can be inferred. Because if we're causing an effect and it's up and down as well as not, it's up as well as down and not just down, and we can control the magnitude as well, then there's no room for gravity or buoyancy. And that's where I'm hoping to get him. So I'm leading him to the edge of the cliff, and I'm going to push him off.
Well, in regards to Brenda, she can't concede that because of the reasons you've just given. There's no space for gravity in that. So that's why.
Yeah. And there's another thing I want to update people on. There's been a death in the community, and it's not actually happened yet, but it's about to happen. So whilst we're all gathered here, we might as well take a moment to remember our friend, Sly Sparkane. He's about to fall to grief. Currently, his channel is still live. However, in the next few hours, it won't be. So let's take a moment to remember Sly Sparkane, a baller that knows it's not a ball, but tells his audience that it is a ball.
Sorry, you're going to have to give us some more details on that. What do you mean in 3 hours his channel won't be a channel anymore?
He's currently sat on two strikes. I'm not sure if the community strikes or copyright strikes, but he's got two. I'll just call them copyright strikes. It might not be. It might be the other one. But he's got involved he's got involved in a war with FE Core because FE Core have took issue with something that he said, or several things that he said and done. And they've basically said, no, you're out of line, pack it in because blah, blah, blah. I don't know the ins and outs of it. I'm not familiar with the ins and outs of it. If you want to check it out before his channel dies, go and look at his version of events on his channel. But basically, they've got involved in a spat. And, well, he's going to claim victim status because of false flagging. FE Core are saying, you're taking the piss. There are limits to being a dick. And regardless of how it goes, I'm just reporting the facts that Sly's about to die. So my condolences to Sly's family, Geo Strieber, Sean Hufford, Red's Rhetoric. We will all remember Sly Sparkane.
Yeah,
That's
but
terrible.
it's not really a laughing matter, though, is it? Really?
No, not
Let's
at
be
all.
honest.
That's terrible.
No, I have to say, someone's worked on that channel to build it up for years, and just to have it taken away. I'm not a fan of that at all.
I remember Sly Sparkane 4 years ago before he made his first video, and I used to taunt him in the comments. I used to say he was in Oakley cage, and I'd chuck him in some Cavendish balls to play with and stuff. Anyway, he was a troll, or I viewed him as just a regular troll, and encouraged him to make videos, and he did. And to hear that's somebody going into YouTube as a commenter, watcher, then progressing on to making videos to address points that they were objecting about, in this case with me, and making direct addresses to things with videos. I had nothing but respect for that. I've always said Sly's my favourite troll, fuzzy little sod. So to hear that he's potentially going to lose his channel, I think that's terrible. As I take off my flat earth hat and put on my YouTube hat and go, I could almost shed a tear for the guy. That's terrible.
And then you realise that he's a moron and
Don't
think,
care.
ha.
I don't care. I've got my YouTube hat and going, the guy's built up a YouTube channel, he's built up an audience, and he's going to potentially lose it over... If what I'm reading or reading between the lines is you're saying that he's going to potentially lose his channel because FE Core are striking him based on content, is that correct?
No, I don't know the ins and outs of it. I don't think it's FE Core. I think FE Core have kept well away from it. I think.
Oh, right.
I think it's some kind of argument to do with he's accusing people of fraudulent activity in some way. I'm not up to it. I've not been watching, so I don't really know the facts. I just know that he's on 2 strikes currently, and he's about to get his 3rd. So keep your eye open. His channel won't be around for much longer. So if you want to go and sign his condolences card,
I hope you're wrong.
Currently,
I hope you're wrong. I hope he doesn't lose his channel.
I've got it up at the minute. Interesting, his tagline says, a wise man can learn more from a foolish question than a fool can learn from a wise answer.
Yeah, I like that.
Poignant. Yeah.
Right, let's take this YouTube hat off and put the flat earth hat on. But yeah, Sly is a fundamentalist religious zealot. He will take positions that are patently absurd, like measuring the horizon, an arbitrary point where the sky meets the ground, which it doesn't. It's only an apparent position.
Appears to meet the ground.
Sorry?
Where the sky appears to meet the ground.
Yeah, an arbitrary position where the sky appears to meet the ground. Well, that's not something you're going to be using to measure things, is it? Which is precisely what he's doing with tubes of water, crowd-funded, quote-unquote experiments that don't have any actual scientific predictions attached, otherwise known as hypotheses. He doesn't have any of that. So, with my flat earth hat on, he's just a pretender clown troll.
There's a bigger picture as well in this, because obviously the likes of Red's Rhetoric and all his cronies, Sean, Huff, Fraud, and all them lot, that circle of friends that you always see them close to each other, they're in the target line, the firing line as well, because there's just a fight. They're arguing over something. I don't even know what it is. I just know that they're fighting over something, and I've just been told the background to it, and I was like, I can't be bothered going to watch it. Just give me the 2 lines that I need to know, and it's basically a dick swinging competition. That's what's really happening. Still doesn't prove any curve, though.
They're battling over which one of them gets to prove curvature to us.
Well, it's funny because
but to be fair, our arguments have evolved through their own videos, what they've put out. And they're the guys that have done videos that we've watched and then thought, oh, they have a point, and then we've gone back and addressed it. So without these guys doing what they do, you know, we wouldn't have evolved our arguments quite as quick.
And we love it. The amount of times, the amount of phone calls from Anthony or Ranty where the rush of adrenaline comes because you're like, look at what they're saying. Look at how they're saying they prove it. And then it's the, you know, fairly quick task of pulling it to pieces. But for me, and I know based on the smiles I hear when I'm talking to Anthony or Ranty in this regard, specifically on a Skype call or whatever, over the last couple of years, it's a joy. You know, we get a real rush out of it, right?
Speaking of which, what happened to the 10 questions, Ranty, that they put towards the flat Earth community that they had to actually make it be a question?
Yeah, Bob the Science Guy is working on that.
To
make it more concise. Yeah.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
He'll formulate some good fallacies.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Hey, Anthony, you still on? Eating tea, probably.
Well, I'm sure it won't take, to be honest, Slice Arcane, with the people that he knows, it shouldn't take him more than a couple of months to probably double his current subscribers on a new channel if he sets one up. Because we know, you know, these shout outs from all these channels seem to work wonders. You know, they get amazing subscriptions very quickly. So, you know, I'm sure he'll be back up and running very soon if that is the case.
Maybe.
So, Nathan, Anthony brought up the gravity question again. And I know it's one of the housekeeping questions. But in their model, they only need gravity, to my understanding, because the world is a ball and it's spinning, correct?
Well, they need something to explain sticky oceans and sticky atmospheres and tides.
Yeah,
plus
exactly.
a whole host of other things.
No, right, exactly. So
What's gravity?
right, so exactly. We
Okay.
keep going on here. So my question, Anthony, is this: you must have gravity if it is a ball. It's a must. It's a must. Okay, but the Earth is obviously and observably flat, even to ballers. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yesterday, R.C. Maisty got stuck on Coriolis. And I happen to think that if I'm talking to a baller, I'm saying, yeah, if it's a ball, you got to have gravity. I give you that. But let's find out if it's a ball first. And so then I don't even argue gravity with these guys anymore like I used to. Because I just say, prove to me it's a ball. Prove to me that we're spinning. And if they can't think of it because they're a normie, I'll bring up Coriolis. Oh yeah, that's it, Coriolis. That proves they're spinning. And then we just take that apart. So it's like I don't even hardly spend any time personally arguing gravity anymore. I say, well, then that's assuming it's a ball, so prove to me it's a ball. And I get them on that. And that's a feat no one could answer because we're not spinning. Coriolis would be Earth-based, and we'd see it all the time with airplanes and bullets and everything else. So it's just dead in the water to me. Gravity is just dead in the water. Going into the specifics of gravity and F over this and small g and big G, it's like, wait a minute, that's only
Wait, did you say
there if it's a
specific
ball.
gravity?
Hey, Owen.
Hello. Because
What's
specific
gravity
gravity,
again?
is where we ended up with, Riley and me. And they call it, they just love to put the gravity stamp on that for no reason, because there's actually no causal relationship, really.
Nobody's answering
Well, you
you,
gotta
chocolate.
have it.
So,
You gotta
sorry,
have it if it's a ball.
chocolate's being ignored in the same way that Quantum Eraser gets ignored when he asks that question. So I'll just answer chocolate's question if he's prepared to ask it
I
for a
didn't hear
third
it.
time. Go ahead, chocolate.
What's gravity?
It's the bending of a conceptual medium known as space-time, which gives rise to a non-force that you can think of as a force but isn't actually a force, known as gravity. So to answer your question, the bending of a conceptual medium, conceptual meaning not actual, only real in the minds of whoever's thinking about it, medium being bent to give rise to a non-force force that you can think of as a force, but it's not actually a force, called gravity. There you go, Chocolate. Hope that answers your question. Sorry to interrupt
how
everyone
does
else.
that effectively? How does
George
that affect
Muser.
reality?
Can I just point out as well that when Rumpus says, we've all heard him say, mass is not a force, weight is a force. What we need to do is hijack that sentence, right? And change it into our language. So we can say, gravity is not a force. Bendy space-time is a force. No, it's not, is it? What's the second part that we can use to cite back at him every time we see him? Because he uses that phrase all the time. That is his catchphrase. Mass is not a force. Weight is a force. Oh, really? So gravity is not a force. So what do we say is a force? Something that interacts. But you guys can't have gravity being a force. Even if you can think of it as a force, it ain't going to cause anything.
Mm-hmm.
Gravity is not a force. It's bending space-time that's not a force.
Effect. That's the other thing. They use the word cause and effect interchangeably on the topic of gravity. So if you ask them I always just say, is gravity a force? And they know they've got to say, no, it's the effect. Well, they say it's bending of space-time that causes a blah, blah, blah. And it isn't. The bending of space-time is the effect that we perceive as what they tell us is gravity. But it's the effect. It's not the cause. So the cause of gravity, well, how are you going to demonstrate this claim that they've got? But yeah, they use the word cause and effect interchangeably.
But
So
how do you witness that
don't
bending of
forget that
space-time?
Rumpus doesn't like that, right? He doesn't like the quote unquote scientific community to tell people that gravity is not a force. Remember?
Hold on, Chocolate. Sorry, between you and
hang
Sleeping
out,
Warrior,
all idiots.
I need you to, between you and Sleeping Warrior, Chocolate, to explain the importance of what Anthony said and the importance of what you've just said. So Anthony's highlighted or put an upward inflection on the word cause and effect, and you've just started talking about science. But there's going to be people watching that don't necessarily see the connection between those two things and the importance of Anthony highlighting that they talk causally. So one or other of you, I don't care who, just draw that connection, please.
Go on, Chocolate.
Well, Riley was saying that, they don't want to admit that it's not a force because it's not. It's a conceptual medium, right? The bending of a conceptual medium. Well, the problem is that that's what the scientific community, if you want to call it that, that's what they tell people, that it's not a force, that it is a conceptual bending of a conceptual medium. And Rumpus, in one of these hangouts, says that they need to stop the scientific community from telling people that because it hurts their argument.
That was in Sean G's hangout.
Yeah.
What he said was we could really do with physicists.
No, this was the one that Quantum Eraser, the one with all of them, Professor Dave. And
You've added another layer to it, which I was hoping
all of them
for something else, Chocolate. So I'm just going to do it myself. I'm really sorry. So Anthony's pointing out that
sorry, I got to work.
It's okay. They assert a causal relationship, and Chocolate's describing the reification of a community that gives rise to empirical data by words that they speak, known as the scientific community. Now, this is a reification fallacy. That science isn't a community; it's a method. Now, that method, the scientific method, establishes cause of an effect. So the process is observe a phenomena, formulate a hypothesis which establishes your presumed cause, Anthony's point, of the effect, and then through systematic experimentation, you vary and manipulate that which you assume causes the effect and establish that you have the cause of the effect, or you don't. Now, in this reification of a conceptual medium known as space-time, they assert quite clearly that they don't know the cause of it. They haven't got a clue what causes it. But this is the, what did you say, scientific community telling us this? Well, no, there's no such thing. That's a reification fallacy. If they employ the method of science, the scientific method, then they would establish the cause of an effect. Now, they can describe, potentially mathematically, some reified effect that they have dreamt up into existence by virtue of pseudo-Riemannian geometry for space, this extra conceptual medium that does not exist, and how this somehow gives rise to anything, which it doesn't. Now, Anthony's point, just to bring this back on track, the bit I was hoping Chocolate was going to go on to, but he was on the other side of the pseudoscience. So what Chocolate's describing is essentially pseudoscientists telling you what's what about what's in the sky and how our world works, when in reality, science would establish the cause. That's Anthony's point. They're talking causally, they're not establishing it scientifically. That's the very nature of the question that we ask so many times every single beginning of these shows. What's the scientific evidence for gravity? Well, there isn't any. It's just a made-up concept that they say bends to give rise to a non-force force you can think of as a force, but I'm going to get rumpused at the conclusion by Arwin. So thanks for that.
Shout out to Arwin.
Yeah.
May I quote George Muser word for word on snapping the wand?
No.
Yeah.
All right. Snapping the wand. This was from that Fight the Flat Earth show. George says, well, it fell on Einstein to explain it, how objects, massive objects, exert what seems to be a force on one another. Literally, it's not a force. So the thing about Newton's laws, you can't take it literally. But Newton himself did it. That there is a force reaching from one object out to another. However, you can act as if there were one. And it's perfectly valid for the applications of Newton's laws to act as though this force is operating, end quote.
And that right there is what Rumpus wants to stop.
That's not true. Newton did not do
bullshit.
that.
That's not
sorry,
Newton's
that's not
thing.
true. That's not what Newton did. Newton was quite explicit in the opposite of what you've just asserted. Now, while they may be called Newtonian, Newton absolutely did not want this nonsense of gravity ascribed to him. I just want to drop that in.
Right, and look, this whole Riemannian force space, Einsteinian gravity, I'm just getting really tired of it, of us trying to explain to them how it is wrong. I don't even know what the observed effect is. You know, what is it actually supposed to be doing? It's like they created this fictional thing, and then can I finish? So they created this fictional thing, and then call it gravity, but I don't even know what it is they created. It's just completely different from any conceptualization of before, because this thing literally doesn't tie into observable reality. Like, what is the actual effect we're supposed to be observing concerning the bending of space-time? What do we see that is a result of the bending of space-time? What is the claim?
Your pen falls on the floor.
No, hold on. Just before you send that into
space-time?
fast, Chocolate, hold on. Arwin, you're right. And the not tying into reality bit, you probably didn't see this because you were maybe sleeping, but Anthony yesterday on Ranty's Roundtable was going through this in explicit detail with Toady and showing him where it doesn't tie into reality. So yeah, you're absolutely correct. What you're verbalizing in terms of the nonsense and how it doesn't make sense as even a claim was demonstrated to Toady yesterday by Anthony. It was epic.
Yeah, I was there, by the way.
Oh, cool. Sorry.
Nathan,
but yeah,
could I play?
I kept up because it was so good.
It was good. I stayed up. It was 2 a.m. before I went to sleep. It was that good. I don't normally stay up anywhere near that late, but it was that good. I stayed up and watched it.
Hey, before you close out, I'd like to say a couple words on the liar, toady, retard.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Right now, Anthony had something.
Oh, did you? Go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, could I play 12 seconds of a hangout where Rumpus is describing the origins of gravity and how it's really inconvenient for physicists to keep describing gravity as not a force. He then goes on to talk about it, how it's the 4D world being manifest itself as a his usual spiel.
Yeah.
But
have you got it queued up?
Listen to him weasel his way around this. It's absolutely fabulous. I'm going to give full citation to this. It's on Al K's channel. It was streamed live on the 8th of July, and it's entitled The Big Question with Professor Dave, Soundly, the Rumpus, and more. You'll find it in the 27th minute. And it's
Hold on, I can't hear you, Chocolate. Can you go on mute? I can't hear a word you're saying because Chocolate's making so much background noise.
Great. So now that Chocolate, basically, it's on Al K's channel. It's a month old. It's called The Big Question with Professor Dave, Soundly, Rumpus and more. 27 minutes in, halfway through the 27th minute, this is what Rumpus says in relation to gravity and physicists saying it's not a force. Listen to him squirm.
And it's very definitely a force. Now, whether its origins, what its origins are, whether it's the result of some gravitons doing something, or whether it's the curvature of space-time, yes, we can debate about that as well, but we need to stop physicists saying gravity is not a force, because they're thinking in the 4D world. They're saying in this 4D world,
we need to stop physicists saying it's not a force.
That's exactly the one I was talking about. Thank you, Riley.
Yeah.
Hey, can I, before QE jumps in? Oh, come on, QE. This is, on that quote from George Musser, he literally did a Freudian slip after the first paragraph, because it was QE who brought it to our attention that it was 207 years after Newton that I believe a person by the name of Boyce ascribed something to Newton that Newton did not ascribe to himself. Am I right in that?
Not 207, it's like just over 100, I think it is.
No,
okay, 100.
It's not. It's not. And that little quote was gone over in Ballbusters, Anthony. Do you watch Ballbusters?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, which one was it?
The whole thing was gone. Which one was it? The one with Professor Dave, the Rumpus,
the years
Soundly from Al K's channel.
Right, but when did they ascribe to Newton? Was it 207 years after he actually?
Yes,
Can I get it
CV
correct?
Boys, 207. Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay, good. So I am following Ballbusters. Thank you. I was confused there for a
No,
minute.
not you, Anthony. That was already gone over on Ballbusters. That and about 30 other quotes that those idiots made. That one specifically.
Right. So I'll finish my point here. So George says,
hang on. I just feel the need to defend.
Don't Rumpus 10th man. Just let him make his Musa quote. I mean, waiting patiently for him to quote Musa.
It's my turn to interrupt.
I just want him to quote Musa. It makes me laugh.
Okay, so I'll go. It said, fell on Einstein to explain it, how objects, massive objects, exert what seems to be a force on one another. Literally, it's not a force. So the thing about Newton's laws, you can't take it literally, but Newton himself didn't. What's he saying there? He's saying Newton didn't say it.
Newton never got out of the conceptual. It's very simple.
Yeah. No, what I'm saying is
it was a conceptual mechanics to understand motion of solid objects within air.
Nearly there. 10 or 20 seconds and he'll be done. Go ahead, 10th man.
Let me wrap it up. QE says it the way he says it, which is Boyce 207 years later ascribed it to Newton, and Newton stayed away from it. Here, George Musser says Newton stayed away from it because he said Newton didn't take it literally. This is the first time George Musser is agreeing with QE.
Wait, what?
I heard that clearly the first time I listened to that interview.
Hold on, Chocolate. Go ahead, Arwen.
It's just like 200 years later, Newton didn't do anything. I'm pretty sure he was dead by then. Just saying.
No, I don't think you followed the train of thought I was saying. QE came on and said Newton never said what they say Newton said and provided the evidence and citations. It was Boyce 207 years later. I'm going back to George Musser, who actually agreed with QE because he said Newton didn't take it literally that way, that it's a force, a mass on a mass. It's so obvious.
Yeah, the first time I listened to that interview, that's one of those lines that stood out clearly, that they're not taking this force that they're calling it literally.
What does that tell you, though? So George Musser is saying the same thing with a slight, with his mouth turned up when he says that in support of his argument. Now, with his mouth turned down, QE says the same exact thing. What does that tell you? It tells you that depending on how the information is presented in the first instances, you can take this devastating point to mean, well, no, it's okay where things don't stack up, because even Newton himself didn't take this literally. I take it as such an absurdity, I think was the word that he used, words that he actually used, But nevertheless, that's the way he spins it, because presumably he's aware of this information, but cognitively he's quite happy to square that circle and then purvey it as though it's a plus to fight the flat earth.
Well, I think it's a political issue, really. I really think it is, because even when we, on the debates, if you slap around Brenda, for example, or any other glober that's going to stay long enough, they will literally start flip-flopping in your face and basically admit, we don't know. But it's just that when they say it, it's kind of like a virtue. But if we say it, it's an attack, and then they can't accept it. It's very weird. It really does feel politicized, the way they respond to us, to our arguments.
Did Anthony have something to add?
Yeah, you can tell John's got out of bed the wrong side today. A, he sounds very grumpy.
I figured you
And
had
B,
to say so.
I was only addressing Chocolate, who previously had mentioned that citation, and I remembered where it was because I wanted people to hear it. Because when I heard that conversation, I nearly fell off my perch. I was like, Rumpus, you can't request that physicists stop calling it not a force because it devastates your arguments.
I had the same reaction. Yes, that's why it stood out so well. I was like, wow, Rumpus is nervous. They're nervous. They don't want people, physicists. He literally said that.
Yeah, and it's everywhere. If you just Google, just type in, is gravity a force? It's literally everywhere. All of them say it's not a force. And I'm like, but these morons we're all supposed to be like subject matter experts, right? We've been here for that long. We've been here for 2, 3, 5 years. And you've still got ball earthers describing gravity as a force. Yeah, it's 100 years out of date. Come on, guys. At least get your arguments up to speed.
They can't. The problem is that
I know.
what they're doing is they're being indoctrinated with doublespeak. So in terms of getting a doublespeak argument to square up, it's never going to work. But obviously 50% of the argument we're going to utilise. That's why when you watch Ballbusters, it's citation after citation after citation after citation, because it's their narrative that you're taking apart in terms of the way it works. The way it doesn't work, the other half of their doublespeak, is in complete polar opposition, complete contradiction of the first half of the doublespeak. Now, like I say, George Musa might be able to spout that off, rattle it off with a little smile, like it's in favour of his argument, because he can understand how to reconvey the doublespeak. But that's all he's doing. Doesn't mean you can't pick it apart and say, well, hold on, listen to what he's actually saying. Not a force. He's making it plain. But he thinks that's cool. All good, right? No. But the fact that he can smile and comprehend it cohesively is just a testament to how well he's been indoctrinated with the information in the first instance. With a critical eye, QE can read the same exact thing and absolutely devastate their paradigm with it. What does that tell you?
Basically, it's an intentional deceit.
No, spectacular programming. I don't think for one second that if you actually approached George Musa and challenged him with that, he would be deeply offended. He'd be like, how dare you? No, I'm an upstanding, honest gentleman. That's what he would say to you, and he'd mean it. I don't think he's intentionally deceiving, but shout out to the people who programmed him that let him spew off that stuff with a little smile like it's all kosher. It ain't. We know it. We only have to parrot it back.
Well, the thing is, I had that Jolyon Bloomfield, and when Rumpus did his hangout with me on Ranties, Jolyon Bloomfield admitted to Rumpus on an email that he stopped communicating with me because I was, quote, continuously misrepresenting his words. Now, his words are really clear, and I was simply asking him, what was it that made Newton's apple begin to move when it fell off the tree? Now, obviously, as he's an expert in general relativity, right? And we all know that gravity is not a force in general relativity. It's the effect of the curvature of space-time. So if I ask somebody that's a self-proclaimed expert on general relativity, what made the apple initially move from Newton's tree when it fell, he can't answer it with a force of gravity because he's an expert in bending of space-time. So what's his answer going to be? And he can't answer it. Now, he thinks, or he interpreted me to be trolling, and he stopped talking to me. And I can understand that. Like you said, Nathan, Musa would absolutely believe the stuff that he's spewing to you as sincere if he was to spew it in a certain way. And he would be mortally wounded if we were to challenge him the way that we would challenge the likes of the Rumpus. But he misinterpreted my question. He misinterpreted my question as trolling, basically because he can't answer the question. The question, which is what's making the apple move initially when it snaps off the stalk. Now, we all know what it is, but he can't answer it because and he's an MIT expert on general relativity. That, to me, tells me everything I need to know about what the general relativity, because there is no answer to the question in general relativity, what made Newton's apple move when it snapped off the tree?
That's like being an expert in
remember
invisible
this.
green pick. Hold on a second. That's like being an expert in invisible green pixies. Joyland Bloomfield, Professor Joyland Bloomfield, you friggin' coward liar. Get your butt on this show, right? And represent general relativity and your scientific community. Come on the show, right? Because you just ad homed Anthony through a moron rumpus, right? Now come on the show and get what's coming to you.
Yeah, when they say they don't like, I will get back to you, Chocolate, I promise. When they say they don't like you misrepresenting their words, what they actually mean is they don't like their words parroted back to them verbatim when it undoes their own position. You know, just as an example, but not limited to, the gas could occupy all of space. A quote from George Netanyahu. Now, they're not going to like that parroted back to them. And this Bloomfield guy, he's no different. Nobody likes their own argument being undone with the very words they use. Oh, well, never mind.
Yeah, he's not going to join, guys, because... Oh, sorry, go on, Chocolate.
No, I just wanted to reiterate another one of those beautiful George Musser quotes, right? We can, we do, we must consider Newtonian gravity as a force. Not because it really is one, but we don't necessarily have to work at the really is level. Amazing. Now tell us how we misconstrued that.
No,
that's what I want to know.
Hold on, I want to hear that again. Yes, please. That's a very big smiley moment to hear that back. Say it again, please, Chocolate.
Yes, not a problem. We can, we do, we must consider Newtonian gravity as a force. Now, that doesn't mean it really is one, but we don't necessarily have to work at the really is level. End quote.
Yeah, outstanding. Thank you for... We should be posting that everywhere. Hey, don't close out, Nathan.
I wasn't going to. I was going to shout out Dave Trev for the super chat. It says, best show in a while. Keep it up, guys. Well, I'm smiling a lot. I've enjoyed today's show. I'm not going to lie. It has been a really good show. Did you want something to add?
You talking to me?
The person that just told me not to close out. No, I'm talking to Chocolate.
Yeah, that person was me. I'm not going to add anything. No one really needs to add anything to what Chocolate said. Did I hear some Jane Fonda in with Toady earlier? Tell me my ears were hearing
What's
things.
Jane Fondering?
Jane terrorist sympathizing.
I put a YouTube hat on. No, that was for maybe.
You mean me?
He made a concession.
I just heard it briefly.
Yeah, he made a concession, and I applauded him for being a normal human being, a step above a fundamentalist religious zealotard.
He is a lying retard. Toe tag dead twice. Right? He made an effort to say how he didn't stand lying and he was honest. Really? We already have documented evidence in the toe tags. You're a liar, sir. And I posted 3 comments because he had a presentation against Spurs chemo, but he decided to drivel out of his mouth QE a bunch of times. Why is that? Why is that?
Because
now,
you're
I
living...
put 3...
I tell you, I know it's rhetorical, but I want to answer. Because you're living rent-free in his head. That's why.
Yeah. I put 3 comments on Ranty's channel to his friggin' baloney. And I just went back and my comments aren't there.
Very interesting. Well, we will discuss this at length in the after show. So if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. However, if you are watching live on Nathan Oakley 1980, this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Of course, a massive thank you to all of today's debating panel for making this live show possible. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. As I say, stay tuned if you are watching on Nathan Oakley premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!